situationship, whatever you call it, is just built off of like that false aspect of intimacy slash lust, it can easily tumble. Right. But if you put yourself in a position where you're like, no, this is actually my friend, and we just kind of built off of that. Like, I don't want to lie to my friend. I don't want to do my friend dirty, as opposed to this person who I don't really know.
Yo, peace and love, family. It's the Hood Psychologist. I'm back at it again with the legendary
Nia Queen, and this is the What's Good With You podcast. We are back with another episode, and today we have a special guest, Chef Beanz, who is an actor, writer, director, and entrepreneur. Yeah. He does it all. And he's single, ladies. Chef Beanz, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy y'all reached out, so I'm ready to turn this episode up a little bit. You know
Say that.
Let's turn it up.
We ready. Do you want to tell a little bit about like what it is that you do, or what you got going on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Quan. I go by Chef Beanz. I created something called intentional consumption, where I help people be intentional not only what they physically consume, but the content they consume, the conversations they have, and the energy that they ingest. Because a lot of times we're aided to, watch what you physically eat, but people don't know that the content that you watch, the books that you read, all of that impacts your hygiene as well. Yeah, so I took it upon myself, like, how can I cook up in an untraditional way and really just lead with love, and everything else has been manifesting from that. So that's the concept behind intentional consumption, and being a walking affirmation for people to add intent to everything that they do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And also too, I like your morning affirmation videos. That's like what really put me on to you.
Right.
Because you just like, what did you say the other day? Like, look at you, you did it again. You fine or something.
you know what's funny about morning affirmations? So how I monitor and manage my content, I know I can be very overt with people by saying, do this, tie your shoes. But people are just bigger babies. So just how you feed a baby, like, you gotta create a rocket ship. That's what I do with my content. So the intent behind my morning affirmations is, let me show people what a healthy relationship with yourself looks like, so that they can try to implement that in their lives. So if they see me speaking life into me, maybe they might say, what would that look like for me to speak life into myself?
Right. Yeah.
That's intentionally, right?
I
love that.
Very intentional,
bro.
I
love that.
Right. Yeah, I love that too. So hate to see it. Well, this episode we're gonna be talking about, the highs and lows of dating in your 20s and different things that you have to go through mentally when you do date, which we'll get to that. But since we're on the topic of dating, our hate to see it segment is gonna be about this Saweetie and Quavo elevator brawl. I wouldn't say brawl. It wasn't a brawl, but it was
a push and a shove.
It was some
it was a little bit more
it was some physical things going on, and I think everybody was kind of surprised by it. I mean, I feel like sometimes people forget, like, these are regular people.
This is my question, like, what's up with celebrities in the elevators? Like, why are you always getting caught up in the elevator, bro? Like,
it's close proximity. Maybe they don't know what to do in that shit.
Right, and it's like, y'all don't know by now that there's cameras in almost every elevator, especially if you living where they live in, they gonna have cameras everywhere. Like
every crevice of that building, they gonna have cameras.
Right? Yeah. But I don't know what it is with celebrities in the elevator. But I just, when I saw it, I was just like, okay, I don't want to make any assumptions because it's a short video, and it didn't look like he hit her or anything. It looked like they were like tussling for something, and she fell, and he just didn't help her up, which, I mean, that was kind of shady. But anyway, I also saw like Saweetie like swung on him.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So I was just like, ooh, okay. But like a lot of people were like trying to, cancel Quavo and like he's abusive and da da da. And I'm thinking, y'all don't know that. Like, y'all don't know that. Like, I feel like there's more to the story, and since I didn't see like him actually put hands on her, I wouldn't be so quick to like label somebody that, because that's a serious accusation.
A very serious accusation, and videos like that trigger me for multiple reasons. One, I know people personally who have experienced domestic violence things, so I don't play with that. But also, as a black man, there's been mad times where black men have been accused of false rape, or he put his hands on me, and now the cops come and they just they don't even ask questions. They just quick because you're the man. So watching a video like that, first I'm taken back, like, wow, it sucks that happened, but also we need to get all the details before we're quick to just put people in these boxes. Like, I don't play those games at all.
Yeah, that's the social media world, though. It's just like I really don't get it. Like, how can you cast your complete judgment of a person off of a 15-second clip? Like,
right, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, but as a people, you know, even I find myself doing it sometimes too. Like, I judge somebody off a little quick. Like, I don't like that person. Like, why they say that in that video? But I don't even know this person. Right? I don't know their real life. I don't know that situation. I don't know what she did to him before they got in the elevator. Exactly. You know, I was kind of thinking, like, when I was watching the video, I was like, it might be a case where she like is like an over exaggerated type of person. Like, oh, you bumped me. Oh, my arm's broken now. Right. You know what I'm saying? It looked like it could have went that way, but you don't really know, right? So for you to just say, oh, I'm done with that person, it's like,
right, yeah. I think context matters a lot. Context matters a lot, and then also too, like, some people were saying like that she looked kind of like drunk or something, like she was like, because just the way she was moving. But yeah, I wouldn't be so quick to just write him off as an abuser. Not downplaying anybody else's situation. Yeah. Because I don't know everybody else's situation. Like, I definitely take that very serious as well. But from that video alone, could I say that? No, I couldn't.
It looked like an accident. If she was her, it looked like I've been in a tussle with my girl doing some give me the phone type of deal.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I heard it's an accident, it's not like I intentionally tried to hurt
her. Yeah. I think too, just everything that glitters ain't gold, y'all. Because like people just used to hype them up.
It's them, but it's not even just them. It's a social media thing. People are so quick to label that's bagels. You don't know what they're going through behind that camera. And social media is so fake. Like, I've seen it to the highest power the past couple of years. People find a nice corner, take a picture, and act like the location is the Bahamas. I'm like, you ain't there. You was in Skid Row. I saw you when you took that. Like, why you playing with me? Like, come on, like, we will be crazy. That's why I don't believe most things that I see on social media, because I know how fake it is, especially when it comes to this concept or idea of love/dating. You don't know them or what they going through. I've faked happiness on social media before. That's how I know.
Right, exactly.
Even when I wasn't happy.
Easy.
It's easy.
It's all good.
It's really easy.
Because all you gotta do is snap that picture. Y'all both smiling. Y'all ain't having a good time. But
don't know y'all just argue before or after that picture.
Right. And a lot of people point out too, like, oh, I want to be treated like Sweetie. Like when Quavo was buying her the Bentleys and the Birkin bags and all that. And I'm thinking, what did he do to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, now that we know, like, that he cheated and all this was going on, it's like, what if he was doing that because he didn't cheat on her for the umpteenth time? Yeah. He's like, please don't leave me, baby. I'm gonna buy you a Birkin. Yeah.
He still asked for that Bentley back. Let me get that back, though. Let me get that back.
Run that back. But yeah, like, everything that glitters ain't gold. Like, we gotta understand that at the end of the day, these people are still human. No matter if they got $100 million in the bank or if they got $0 in the bank, they're still human and they still make mistakes, and their relationships aren't always perfect. I think the biggest example of that was the whole Will and Jada situation. Like, because everybody's like, Will and Jada, like, they down for each other, like, they just this and that. And when that came out, people was like, what? Like, that whole like veil was just lifted off of everybody's eyes, because we were like, oh, Will and Jada are goals. They've been together for this many years and da 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 da. It's like, y'all, they still people at the end of the day. Like, don't put your like you said, don't say that that's bagels and you know nothing about the inner workings of their relationship.
Because a lot of people, I realized, they just looking for something to follow. They don't have anything in their actual proximity for them to idolize. So when you see something on social media that can be glamorized X, Y, and Z, you just label that as, that's my destination. That's the lifestyle that I want to live. But you don't see the behind the scenes aspect as far as the trials and tribulations that everyone goes through in relationships.
Right.
So when all that came out, the entanglements, X, Y, and Z, I was kind of at this same neutral space because I don't care how well you are with putting words together in a sentence.
Right.
Like, no, you're still a person. And
right.
People are just delirious, delusional.
Yeah, y'all, don't do that no more. And even, what would you say, like, this wasn't on here, but, like, what would you say as far as sharing your relationship with social media? Do you feel like that should be more of a private thing or more of a, let me show her off type thing? Because, like, I feel like because, you know, Sweetie and Quavo's relationship was so, like, social media stuff, like, that she had to say, like, you know, she had to say a statement about it, you know, because everybody had their little whispers about what happened and blah, blah, blah. So she had to set the record straight. Yeah. Then they go back and forth. And then I'm thinking, this should be a private thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's really hurt by this and all that, and he's probably hurt too. Yeah. Like, why do we know this? Why do we know this? I just feel like, some things you could keep to yourself.
Yeah, I'm big on, I used to be the social media, look at my relationship type thing, but through a lot of healing and deep digging, I realized that was all for my ego. Right. That was all just to show my friends, look how romantic I can be if I want to be. Look, it was more show-offy as opposed to 100% genuine. To where now I see the power in being private, the power in just letting our romance and our levels of intimacy or whatever creativity be within us. Now, if we want to show a random picture on vacation, X, Y, Z, that's cool. But every step of our relationship, look where we're eating at. Right. Look where we're going. Oh my gosh, she's happy. Look how I just surprised her. That stuff can just it can be misleading to not only others, yourself. Right. You tricking yourself to act like the relationship is somewhere that is not.
Yeah. Right. And I would say if you are taking that approach of putting everything y'all doing, like y'all always on the videos together, I would just recommend giving a disclaimer, like, you know, it looked good, like everything, we still go through our troubles, we still go through our fights and our struggles. I kind of look at social media like in relationships, it's like, you know, I post my life on social media, and my relationship is a part of my life. So I do put some of the aspects of my relationship on there, but in the same breath, I don't put all of the bad qualities about myself personally on my social media, so I don't put that for my relationship as well, you know what I'm saying? So it's easy to create this illusion that everything is beautiful, everything is perfect, but without that disclaimer, like, you know, it looks good, and it is good. It could you could be in a very healthy relationship, but you still gonna have your fights, your battles, your scars, and your healing, you know what I'm saying? And you should let the world know that as well.
And also, too, like, for women, I feel like a lot of women get caught up in, and, like, myself guilty as well, like, in, like, you know, those little memes or sayings about men or whatever, and we post that, and they be like, well, what's going on with you and so-and-so? Like, everybody don't need to know that y'all having a fight today. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're going to be back with them tomorrow. Yeah. So just be careful with that. And then also, too, like, when you go through a breakup, I realized that, too, like, when I took down all my pictures of my ex, and, like, everybody's like, well, what happened? Oh my what? You guys were so cute. Oh, well, da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like I'm re-traumatized all over again because people are noticing when we actually broke up, and I'm still grieving the loss of the relationship. I'm not ready to tell you about why we broke up. Like, that was traumatic. That was traumatic.
Your relationship becomes a TV show for people. That's a TV show. Oh, y'all broke up. Why'd y'all break up? And especially as people you don't even rock with like that. Why are you asking? I don't even know you, dog. Like,
like, some things are just better to keep to yourself. So, yeah. To each his own. To each his own. But for Let's Keep It Real, we are going to be talking about Chef Beanz' series called Transparency, where
dope concept, by the way, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Dope concept, for real. It's dope.
Where it's like young people who are, I guess, in their 20s or early 30s, going through that first date or dating, you know, in those first stages, and how, you know, nerve-wracking that could be, or how, you know, tiring that could be for me, because I'm tired. Anyway, okay. I'm sorry, but how did you come up with the concept for transparency?
So the concept for transparency was ignited after my last relationship. It got to a place at the downfall of it where I was reflective and asked myself, did we ever know each other? Or did we just introduce whatever parts of ourselves that we wanted to? Because when it comes to like the beginning stages of getting to know someone else, if you don't know yourself, if you're not reflective, you're just introducing a stranger to another stranger. Now it's two strangers trying to get to know strangers.
Yep. Right.
So with all of that, I asked myself, what would a transparent conversation have looked like when we first met? Like, what could that have looked like?
Right.
Then after I started filtering through those questions, I'm like, what would that look like for a single parent? What would that look like for someone who's not over their ex, or someone who is over their ex, or love at first sight? And my mind just started bouncing around, and then the concept of transparency ignited. So after a while, I'm like, let me just write up different characters and just see what it'll look like with different people in these seats. And then after that, that was season 1. Season 2 I did completely by myself because of quarantine. I couldn't cast anyone, so I just spoke to someone going through a long distance relationship. And now this season, as it continuously grew, I'm like, okay, I have more confidence in my pen now. Let me just start getting more vulnerable, because as men, we're taught crying and different things like that, emotions make you soft.
Right.
So, that man box, and I realized how much strength there is in vulnerability. And my favorite type of music is 90s R&B and old school, and I realized how vulnerable they were back in the day. I give you the moon and the stars and all that. I'm like, why is this music timeless? It's because they're vulnerable. So how can I emulate that, but in more so a narrative, and put it on camera? And that's what transparency is. And the intent behind that is also showing people what transparency looks like, so that they can potentially ask themselves, what would transparency look like in my life if I was to be transparent? Okay, that would involve me having to be more reflective and asking myself, okay, what are my triggers? How would I respond if someone spoke to me that way? And what can I be upfront with? That's the overall bubble of transparency, so people can be more transparent with themselves, so that they can A, communicate that to other people, and B, just be a lot more productive and effective.
Can you move over a little bit so we can see your face on camera? We got to get the people to see that grin, that grill, okay?
My bad.
But I like how you're saying like it was inspired through your experience. So, I mean, last episode we talked about like music and how that helps people cope with the different things that they go through. But also like acting and art, directing, writing, like that's therapeutic as well, because it's like art imitates life. So you're able to process your breakup and the things that you went through by putting out this series, and also other people are going to relate to what it is that you're putting out. Because even you sent me one and I was like, is this about me? I said, you don't even know me like that. How you know that I was dealing with this? Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like it made me feel a little better, because it's like, okay, I'm not the only person dealing with this and struggling with dating and getting myself back out there. What I didn't know is that I never considered the insecurities or dilemmas that guys have with dating.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm always focused on myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never think like, oh, this guy might actually be nervous to meet me. Like, I'm just thinking like, I'm just Nia. Like, who would be nervous to meet me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I want to like ask you, well, what are some of the things that guys have to deal with when putting themselves out there? And I guess your experience with that.
No, I'm sure you can attest to it. Like, when it comes to at least being single, the guys are taught at a very young age you have to approach the woman. If it's one chick that you like and there's a group of them, you got to find some type of way to communicate with her. You don't know how the response is going to be. You could tell yourself, I have all the confidence in the world, I deal well with rejection. But at the end of the day, you will feel some type of way, like, dang, like, how come my approach have been different? So that's one way. Another thing to think about as far as like insecurities is, okay, like, how can I keep this up? How can I keep her attention? X, Y, Z, just different things. Those are the things that I can think about off the top of my head. Especially back in the day. Now I feel like I've developed a lot more confidence within myself and just a healthier relationship. And even on like the spiritual tip, I know whatever's for me is not going to miss me. So I'm not forcing myself in anybody's direction or telling or I don't want anyone to be anywhere that they don't want to be. Please go. If you want to dip.
Get up out of here.
Please, I'm not going to convince you to be anywhere you don't want to be. But I'm just speaking from an overall standpoint. I do know men who struggle with that, or they try to convince people why they should be around them, or convince people why they should love them more, X, Y, Z. But now I don't got time for that no more.
And it's trying to, sometimes it's like trying to I can't say I personally struggle with this, but some men kind of try to present this poise that they are like, you know, at this certain level in their life, you know, just so they can keep the woman like, you know, if I don't look like I got it all together, then she just gonna move on to the next, you know. So let me cap, let me do my lying, let me, you know, hide all the real true scars that I really got in my life and only present the good stuff because I want her to, you know, really lynch on and lash to me. And then once I got her, all right, I'm gonna let all that stuff loose, let all that stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
You spot on with that. It's the persona. Let me convince you that I got it all figured out when deep down inside I know I don't. Like I can even take it a step further. I'm a lot better now, but for a while I struggled with financial literacy, like just like budgeting. It was never really taught to me. X, Y, Z. Then I'm in college. Then I get out of college and I'm like, whoa, people hitting you with different stuff. Credit this, X, Y, Z. What's your savings? I'm like, whoa. But let me have just met a chick with her. She's not going to know any of that. I'm like, okay, let me do whatever I need to do, make her fall in love with me or X, Y, Z, and then eventually you gonna see these parts that like I lacking, and a lot of dudes lead with that, whether it's with their clothing, whether it's with their flexing and capping X, Y, and Z, and it's not until you get up to him close to where you're like, oh, he actually doesn't have it all figured out.
Oh, that's the one right there. But you know what you just said when you were like, I know whatever is for me is not gonna miss me, and that hit me right here. Because sometimes like
that's real.
Like I will get caught up in a dude and be like, oh, but we would look so good together. Like we would be so compatible, and then
ego,
right? And then like he just be flaky, or he just don't have like he not consistent, and I'm like, but if we would just get together, like it would be. But it's just like, maybe that's not for you, Nia. That's why it's not working out. Okay. See, it just clicked for me right now.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I think feeling like we need to rush into things too, as well. Like, and it really be based off of, you know, us looking at other people's relationship, looking where other people at in their lives, looking at our age, taking all of these things into consideration when it comes to sharing your energy with somebody. It's like, all right, the clock's ticking. I got to find out who is it going to be. What about having you stop the clock and actually say, all right, let me find out myself first. Let me find out who I am. And then once I can come to that place, the person that's for you, like you said, you ain't gonna miss you.
And you know another thing, bro, that I realize people go through when we're younger, we're taught, okay, by the age of 22, I'm gonna have this. By the age of 25, I'm gonna have a house and a car, 2 cars and 3 dogs. And by this, it's all of that, and also what I said called Disney trauma. The Disney trauma, as far as the man rescuing the woman from the castle XYZ and they living happily ever after. But in those things, they don't talk much about accountability. They don't talk much about like effective communication. But these are the things that are pumped into us at an early youth, so we kind of perceive love as like this super free flowing thing that there's no blemishes in, and that's not reality. Like love is, to me, I've defined love as an extended friendship with yourself. So if you can extend that friendship with yourself and coexist with someone else who have an extended friendship, then that's a healthy space to love equally. Personally, that's my definition, not what we've been beat into our heads.
Right, yeah. Disney trauma. I never heard it like worded like that, but
that's how I perceive it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Hey, let me ask you this though, since we're talking about dating and like the early stages, like, all right, what goes through the woman's head when the eye contact thing happens? Like when we look at y'all like 4, 5, 6 times, like is that like what goes through your head when we do that? You know, you did have you did that before, bro? Like you seen chicks look like
you like, and then
in the story, like every time I'm trying
you double dutching now. You like, should I say something? You like double dutching.
Well, in my head, I feel like the women are more calculated. Like I feel like, okay, let me go in his line of sight so he can look at me in the eye. Like sometimes I'll be peeping dudes like as soon as I walk in, or as soon as they walk in, I'll be like, okay, that's the one I want. Okay, let me get in his line of sight, because I'm not gonna be the aggressor and be like, how you doing? You know, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna put myself in the right space so he can look at me. He gonna see I'm pretty, of course, and then we gonna start making eye contact. And then like, okay, I make the eye contact. I'll be like, okay, the first look, I don't think nothing of it. I'm like, maybe he's just looking around, whatever. Second look, I'll be like, okay,
he on me.
I got him.
If it get to a third look, I'll be like, all right, let me just get closer to his area, so he can feel comfortable enough to come say something to me. And sometimes
So it's 3 looks. You got 3 looks. That's all you can get. After the third one, it's like, all right, bro, it's getting weird now.
No. Like, sometimes I would say me, like, I don't know if it's not so much now, but when I was like in college and stuff, I was pretty aggressive. So I seen you looking at me, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, like I would be more so the aggressor sometimes, or I would start a conversation with somebody around them.
Gotcha.
So then try to include them into the conversation.
That's an oldie but goodie.
Yeah, right. So I would do that, and then eventually the guy would talk to me or something. Yeah. So now I had to work on that because it just depends. I have to get a feel for it first, because my therapist was talking about, like, it's okay to be aggressive, but if you're aggressive and the guy's not really returning that, then maybe you should just calm it down a bit. And so now I'm like in this weird space where I'm like, I want to say something, but I don't want to, come off too aggressive. But yeah, that's what's going on in my head. By the time you seeing me, I wanted you to see me.
Okay, I feel it.
I wanted you to see me, so I put myself in that. But just for dating with women, as far as I don't know, I think one thing that I've learned is that I get caught up in the idea of a guy and liking the idea of him rather than him,
right?
And sometimes like I'll get like swooned with this dude, and then like I really get to know him, I'll be like, he's annoying. I want to go home now.
What we do sometimes, our imagination is what creates like this perfect person. Right. Even if there's some things we kind of shape them or mold them, be like, okay, well, it's just that. And then you try to tailor your interest to this person when deep down inside, most times it's not always as it seems.
That's facts.
Right.
So I've learned to just be extremely patient in my solitude right now.
Right.
Because you can't fool me with the accolades. A lot of people try to lead with their best traits passively too. Like, well, I work here and X, Y, and Z. But it's like, how's your relationship with yourself?
Right.
That's the important part. You can have all this other stuff. I know 6-figure, 7-figure miserable people. And I don't got time for people who don't possess the polarity that I need to grow. So with that, I lead with, like, I just listen with my eyes. I listen to how people talk to themselves, how people treat themselves, because that's important.
Right. What would you say, like, I feel like this is a new thing that our generation created, like this talking stage. I feel like it's some BS. I'ma just say it, like, what you talking for 6 months for? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is the point of that? Like, I honestly feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a lot of times men will find the girl that they like, or they be vibing with you, whatever, but like a part of them is like either insecure or feel like they might mess it up or something like that. So they hold you around, but they don't actually commit to you. So maybe explain to me what's going on in a young man's head. I mean, Tawan is engaged, so he's been past.
I've been there though. I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I've been there.
Anyway, what is going through a young man's mind as far as that talking stage? Like, is it a mental thing? Like, what is that? Where did that come from?
I can speak to old beans and new beans. Old beans would use that talking stage and just ask myself, what do I really want from this person? Is it just like the sexual aspect of it, or am I actually interested in this girl? Am I just using this to waste time? Just let time go by. She might be cool. That's old beans. Beans today is more so in that talking stage, actually really trying to get to know that person. Now, if it gets to that point where we decide to have sex or whatever like that, then cool, so be it. But in my past, that hasn't always been the most beneficial thing, because sex confuses and complicates things most times. Like, that can have you feeling like your emotions for this person is somewhere that it's not.
Right.
So just being mature about it now, I feel like that can be a time, if y'all intentions are pure and y'all really trying to get to know each other, really get to know each other. Like, really take the time to communicate each other's boundaries, triggers, insecurities, things like that, and not skip any steps. Because if y'all relationship or friendship, situationship, whatever you call it, is just built off of like that false aspect of intimacy slash lust, it can easily tumble. But if you put yourself in a position where you're like, no, this is actually my friend, and we just kind of built off of that. Like, I don't want to lie to my friend. I don't want to do my friend dirty as opposed to this person who I don't really know. It happened, but I'll get over it. Right. It's like it hits different when it's like, no, like this was my friend, and let me build with her friend. That's what I'm, at least I can only speak for myself.
That makes sense.
That's what I'm learning now.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense. And I'm glad you said new beans, because I was like old beans. Like me personally, when I was in the talking phase, like I was, I'm speaking like high school, freshman year of college. Like me and my girl got together like my sophomore year of college. So it was like I've been locked in, and it just so happened that I found myself, naturally connecting with somebody that's my best friend just from the jump. Like, our talking phase probably lasts like 2-3 weeks, and I was like, all right, we got to cut everybody off. Like this is real. This is what's happening. But for me, before I met my girl and I was doing the talking phase, it was all cap. Like this is just me saying that I'm messing with other people. I have other people in my life too. I'm not committing to you. I don't want
commitment. Yep.
I'm not. There's no commitment. There's no me and you. Don't get mad when you see me on Instagram or Snapchat partying with other. Don't get in your feelings about nothing. That's what I would use the talking stage for. Fellas, if y'all doing that, I would recommend you not to, because you kind of, especially if you and that other person aren't in agreements. Like you're saying the talking stage. If you're saying you're in the talking stage with that person, and that person is saying, well, like, I'm really trying to get serious, I'm really feeling you, then you should respect that person enough to be like, all right, look, sweetie, I know you saying you really feeling this and you vibing with me, but I'm not on that right now. So, you might want to fall back with your feelings and your emotions a little bit.
So why is it so hard for men to be honest about their intentions? Like I feel a lot of conflict could be avoided, and a lot of anger and resentment could be avoided if they were true about their intentions from be intentional.
Be intentional. I think that just stirs up from the stereotypical women are emotional. We don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt your feelings. If I just tell you I'm just trying to smash, you're gonna break that little girl heart.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
I mean, yeah, it is
sure.
that. Is one of your cake and still one of your. Well, however the quote go. Dudes, a lot of dudes know if they communicated that, like, look, you're fire, you're tough, but A, I'm not ready for a relationship, or B, I still wanna get them yams though.
Yep.
That's what dudes be. I'm trying to tell you, but dudes don't want to mess up with that, and if their objective is still to get the yams, then that's what they're going to try to do. Yep. It's literally, that's one angle to it. Another angle is dudes don't really know their intentions a lot of times. They haven't really sat down and said, okay, what am I really trying to get from this person? Whatever. And it may not come from a genuine place. It's a very selfish place at times.
That's how I feel like. Y'all don't know what y'all want. So y'all really just waste
no. But look though. They want to have you and whoever else they want to deal with.
It's not like they don't really know what they want. You feel me? It's like, I want this, I want that, I want that, and I'm not ready to commit, so I'm gonna just stay in this neutral space. Back to what saying, like that talking stage. Well, I never said you was my girl. We never said we was together.
Well, they love saying that, like, but we not really together, so why you mad? Like,
but I think the real honest response is, like, if I come to you with the approach that, I'm just trying to smash, I just want the yams, right? Then you are going to lose your interest in me. You're not going to want to deal with me, and then I'm going to lose you in whole. You know what I'm saying? So let me just keep you at bay, you know what I'm saying? Sweeten you up, say all the good lovey-dovey stuff while I'm still doing my thing, but not being completely honest with you about what I want, because I'm not going to get what I want if I just come out and say it.
Okay.
Happens.
It's just
and see, y'all, like, we're talking about this because this is my life and this is what I deal with. Okay, all these episodes that we talk about, like, this is my life. So, like, relating back to mental health, like, sometimes women, like, attach their worth onto who they're dating. And, like, sometimes when things don't go right, we start to feel like, dang, is there something wrong with me? Like, why don't he want to commit to me? Like, something wrong with me? Let me tell y'all, women, y'all are amazing, okay? Well,
say that.
I don't know everybody, but y'all are amazing.
Say that.
Don't depend on that to determine your worth, because like y'all was saying, like, y'all just want your cake and eat it too. Yep. Like, you can't always have that, brother. You gonna have to let that go. That's why I like what you said, and you're like, I'm okay with being alone and just letting things, flow naturally instead of out here just chasing women when you know you're not ready for it or whatever the case may be. Like, you're not pressed for it.
Right. Well, I mean, I had to get to this place. Like, moving out here, I'm from Jersey. I realized one of my biggest distractions were the streets. If I'm going to keep it a stack, it was like, yo, the streets are a distraction. Women, X, Y, Z. You need to find peace within yourself. Right. Because if you don't find that, you'll just continuously use things and people as void fillers. So that's if facts. People get out of the headspace of using temporary satisfaction as void fillers, that'll also help, I feel like, move the level of love in as millennials forward. Because that's the thing, people don't really know how to love themselves. They've learned through dysfunctional households. I can go on about that, but they're just emulating with how they saw their parents love or the love that they came from. So with that, once you become an adult and you're more of an independent thinker, you're just repeating those old patterns. But it has to get to a place where you just stop and unlearn a lot of stuff. I had to unlearn before I got to this space, and it's peaceful here. But to speak to the men who haven't done that, it's going to be this ongoing cycle until they find the courage to look within themselves to unlearn a lot of stuff.
Until you stop pointing that finger at everybody else.
Accountability.
At yourself.
Right. Like, accountability is the big thing. And just like for women, my experience in dating is just like, the more I grew to love myself, the less I tolerated. And it's just like, when I'm thinking back to like my college self, and I'm thinking like how dudes used to treat me, and I would still just be coming back, keep coming back. And it's like you gotta love yourself to know that there's something better out there for you. There's something better out there for you. This is not who you need to be with. If all it's bringing you is pain, if all it's bringing you is confusion and anxiety and all this stuff, it's not for you, you know. And I had to realize that, you know, I would say more recently, because I was in like a long-term relationship, like 4 years, and it ended like in 2019, and it's like almost I've been rediscovering myself. Nice. And also learning to love myself. But how did you come up with the stories for the transparency series for the women? Like, is that your friends? That's
not even just my friends. Just everything in transparency are my experiences that I have with everyday people. Okay. Whether it's randomly something I hear someone say in person, or things that I see women repost on social media. So, for example, I think one of the ones that I sent you was the single doesn't mean lonely.
Right. Yeah.
I know a bunch of women who are single, but they're not lonely. They found peace within themselves. So I'm like, okay, let me create a narrative that basically speaks life and power into solitude. And that was just my intent. And I just created the narrative. Or there was one called Favorite Hits, which spoke about like just shining light on domestic violence, these conversations that people rarely have. So I'm like, this is a big thing. And like I said, I know people personally who've experienced that, but my mind just went to, what would that look like on a first date? Like, do people ask things like that? Like, that's just how my mind goes, and I'm not afraid to push the button.
Right.
And I literally go from there, because yes, I can put myself in the shoes, or I feel like naturally I can always put myself in the shoes of someone else and tell a story from there. But tapping into what women may go through, I have a bunch of women in my family. I have some of the not the kind of, I know you said like you've been going through different, but the funniest stories that I hear are women's dating stories in LA. To me, that's straight comedy. Some of the stuff they be going through.
I'm telling y'all, it's not funny when you going through
it's not funny. I'm more so saying they tell me after the, but I say with all of that, I just find myself like, okay, how can I create this narrative and just put it on the forefront? And my imagination just does its thing. That's literally what it is through my everyday interaction. Like, I can make a transparency episode about any of y'all in this room. Like, that's just how the power of my mind and my imagination.
That's what's up.
I look at something, I'm like, okay, what's that bear going through? Okay, is he hungry? Okay, if he is hungry, why didn't he eat? Did his parents not feed him? And I just go from there, and I just get to the end.
Right. So, as far as just transparency in general, how much is too much for a first date?
That's situational. Because some people can handle overt transparency with it cranked all the way up on high.
Yep.
Right.
Some people can just take it as far as, I'm here, but I'm only here because I'm not over my ex, and I just need stuff to make time go by.
Right.
Or transparency could look like, I'm only here because I wanted a free meal. Because look, because you know,
I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
Y'all got free meals before. Don't act like you
guilty.
never got a free meal. So it depends. I think whatever you feel as though that you want to communicate and get off your chest, then communicate that. And you can't control how a person responds to what you say. So it's knowing that, and if you feel compelled to share something, then share it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I love the concept of it because it really speaks to how important communication is from the jump. You know, communication is, you know, what you're going to build your relationship off of, but how much more powerful would your relationship with that person be if y'all just got all that stuff out the way from the get-go?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And the first step is communicating with yourself. Keep bringing it back to self. I can't communicate anything transparently if I don't get to know myself. At least it won't be 100% accurate or authentic. I can't say these are my boundaries if I haven't discovered my boundaries. So it does have to take a place in being reflective with yourself. I'm always bringing it back to self. No, what do you need in this moment? So you can communicate what you need as opposed to some of your false desires.
Right, yeah. And even just like in my dating experience, like I was dating this dude and I'm always like emotional. I talk about mental health a lot. I'm able to like pick up on certain things that maybe certain women don't really know about or catch on to. And like he was saying, he told me, he was like, you know, it's annoying how smart you are. And I'm thinking, what? But that's me being myself. That's just who I am, right?
Wait, was he serious?
No, he was serious.
Oh,
He was serious. But when I had to take a step back because at first I'm offended, right? At first I'm like, what? Nigga? Like, oh, sorry. Sorry, parents. Sorry, mom and dad. Anyway. But I was really taken aback, but then I was thinking about it like, maybe there's certain things within him that he has not addressed yet. So me bringing it up
has nothing to do with you.
Right, exactly. It has nothing to do with me. It was making him uncomfortable that I was pointing out different patterns that he had and just that pointing out like he wasn't over his ex and just different scenarios than how he was acting. I was able to pick up on that, and he maybe wasn't ready to address that. I really got hurt by my ex, like, but he really told me that, y'all. Like,
your light was a trigger for him. Your light, your knowledge was a trigger for him, which also, like we said, had nothing to do with you.
Right.
And that's how you could tell the stance of a person's relationship with themselves. There's no reason why someone else's success or anything should be a trigger to you, because that's just exposing the unhealed parts of yourself.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Like, I really told my friends, like, he said I was annoying because I'm smart. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, see, dating in LA, y'all. Dating in LA, like, it sucks. Like, you really got to become comfortable with being alone and be like, you know what, I'm good because I don't really want to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this, and I don't have to deal with it right now, you know? Maybe in the summertime I might feel a little more inclined to date, but right now, like, just focus on myself. So one of your transparency episodes, I the only line that's coming to me, and he was like, he gave her the jar, and he was like, here are my insecurities, and like, can you talk more about that? Because I was just like, wow, like he really put it all on the line for her. He said, these are my insecurities, like you either gonna roll with me or you not, type thing. So I just wanted you to talk about like the inspiration behind that.
The inspiration behind that is we all feel, regardless to whatever we were taught growing up, we all feel. And like I was saying before, my favorite music is like that old school music, them just really being vulnerable, Jodeci, all those different things. And I remember a time when I was detoxing my last relationship out my system, and I was listening to music. I'm like, dang, this what they were singing about? I was when
you go through
that, you like, yo, dude, they was singing about this.
Right.
This is where I want to be was actually about.
Right.
Oh. So with all of that, I love just showing like the concept of millennials, especially millennial men, be vulnerable, because a lot of things that you see on social media, F that be, hot boys summer, city boys, we back. It's like, nah, let me spin it from another narrative. And we all have insecurities, things that we haven't 100% put on the forefront or really sat with. So I find different ways of showing people like, no, it's okay to talk about this, and this is what it could look like. This transparency might be more on the extreme. You might not be this transparent with it, but identify them. And once you identify your insecurities, it's okay to or what I say, I have round table discussions with my insecurities and my boundaries and my triggers. Like I literally look at them,
the first step.
Sit with them. Yep. And as I'm looking at my triggers and insecurities, I'm like, where'd you come from? And then I discover where they came from. I get to the root of it. And as I uproot a lot of these things, I realize even in our culture, we say, let go of trauma this, trauma that. But that trauma is a part of you. That trauma the trauma that was instilled in me protected me at one point growing up. Yeah. So it's like, how can that coexist with my new self? Okay, I'm able to respond in a healthy way when I am triggered, when my boundaries are cross X, Y, and Z. Yep. But I'm not going to let it. I'm not just going to continue to attribute to the demise of Black love by not loving myself. But that starts with me sitting with these things that I know can offset me.
What would you say are the benefits of being transparent when you're starting to date, or being intentional in your dating? What would you say the benefits for a young man? What would you say the benefits of that is?
The benefits of being transparent as a young man when it comes to dating are, it's a reflection of the time that you took to get to know yourself. It's a reflection of that. It's a reflection of your level of communication. Yeah. Like, I'm communicating these things because I've taken the time to realize what I actually need, and I'm not just going to sugarcoat or give you some lip service as far as like these common things that people say they need. I need love, I need trust, I need understanding. It can be very surface, but it's like, no, I appreciate effective communication because that lets me know that we're on the same page. Or these are my triggers, I'm still working on them. I can be stubborn, but I'm working on being a better listener. Or as an empath, I feel everything, but at the same time, I won't let you take advantage of me. It's just a level of showing them like, no, I've taken the time to really get to know myself. So being that I don't want to waste my time, I don't want to waste your time either. So if you able
say that again, okay, sorry.
If you able to really communicate that, sit with a person like, okay, we're not children, we're not in middle school with these 3-week, 3-day relationships. Like, we're adults, and we're at the age where we're really trying to build something. So if my intentions are pure, let me tell you and show you that I've taken the time to really communicate what they are. Let me hear yours. If you haven't taken the time, okay, maybe this is a good time for you to do that, and let's move forward. Because if it doesn't mix, then that is okay too. But at least we've taken the time to communicate, and we're not wasting either one of each other's time.
Right, because we'll know what it is what we're dealing with.
Right, and to add, we're also continuously working on ourselves.
Right. It's ongoing.
It's an ongoing process, an ongoing journey. And the more you're able to express and articulate what it is you're feeling inside, what it is that you want to experience out of somebody that you want to be in this energy dance with, the better off you don't feel. So
right. And also too, like, I feel like being your true self, especially when dating, it kind of eliminates people for you.
That's fact.
Like, sometimes when you show your representative or the I guess the sample or whatever you want people to see in the beginning, like, without showing your true self, it's like, oh yeah, a lot of people are gonna be around you because they think you're this way. You're not really showing your true self. If you show your true self, you're able to, like, kind of filter out the people who are not really for you. And I think that comes with also just being confident. Like, it all comes back to yourself, like you said, like being confident in yourself, knowing what it is, like doing the work within yourself. You'll be able to be transparent on that first date, or when you're getting to know somebody, if you're comfortable with yourself. Right,
and understanding the difference between force and flow. Am I forcing this, or is this free flowing? A lot of times we force things. Back to what you're saying, it's like Build-A-Bear. Let me build this person to being what I want them to be. Okay, they got X, Y, and Z, but if I buy them this shirt, then it'll look more like my ideal mate. And with that, you can dress up a person or a mate however you want, but if the insides are the insides, then it won't change anything. Right. And that's where boundaries come in at. Back to you were saying, filtering a lot of things. These are my boundaries, and if one of my first tier boundaries is effective communication, then that should be a flag if it's not effective communication.
Right. Pay attention to
them to them flags and not
pay attention.
I seen a post on Facebook. It said them red flags be looking like Six Flags when you when you feeling somebody. Them red flags look like.
Then you want to just go on a roller coaster. Hey, I'm at Six Flags now. Let me go on a roller coaster.
I ain't got nothing better to do. You know what I'm saying? And I saw one that was like, oh, we see red flags and be saying like, well, it look kind of orange to me. Like, no,
it's red.
This is red. This is red. Run, girl, run. Stop just letting these dudes just take advantage of you or waste your time.
And letting these girls take advantage of you too, fellas. Let's not act like it don't go both ways. There are chicks who kind of like rubs hands like Birdman. Ooh, I got one.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you for coming today. I think we had a real conversation about dating and just getting to know new people and how that's supposed to go. And just, I like how you talked about bringing it back to yourself. I think that's
intentionally.
That's so paramount, because if accountability to you only looks like pointing the finger, that's a false perception of accountability.
Exactly.
What did I do to get myself in this situation? What can I do to get myself out of this situation?
Right, exactly. That accountability, it's hard sometimes. It hurts sometimes,
and that is okay.
Right,
because feeling pain lets you know that I'm able to feel. I'd rather feel than be numb to things, because when you're numb, you're just a robot. You know, let me feel it all, so I can know how I want to respond to it.
Yeah. Oh man, I hate dating, y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe it'll get better if I start being intentional. You know, maybe it'll get better. But yeah, right now I'm just like, okay. But anyway, tell the people, you got anything going on right now, any businesses or anything, any events. Tell them what you got going on.
Yeah, so I dropped the pre-sale for my book on Valentine's Day, Chef Beanz Recipe to a Woman's Heart.
Wait, you got a book?
Yeah, Chef Beanz Recipe to a Woman's Heart, which literally 2 days ago was live on Amazon. So if y'all want to check that out,
I gotta
feel me. The
out.
physical copies are about to be here in a couple days. So that was one of my biggest challenges. People think, oh, just write a book. No, it's challenging. It's not as easy. So it's that, but also transparency is doing amazing. Each week is only getting better. Other than that, back to intentional consumption. Everything that I put out, everything that I do is honestly me talking to myself. I'm always talking to myself, because I realized one of my biggest struggles was overthinking. So how can I not overthink? What do you do most? You talk to yourself. Okay, so just put that on social media. So when people say, when I say things like, I don't know who this is for, I'm who it's for.
Right.
Like, I'm always talking to myself. Everybody else gets hit in crossfire.
Right.
So if you're more intentional about the things that you consume and the love and light that you put out, you'll attract an accurate depiction of yourself. So that's all I really have to say. Everything that I put out is me just being myself, because being someone else, you got to remember who you told people that you are, who you introduced. I always introduce my fullest self, so I don't ever have to remind myself who I introduced.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's your at? What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Chef Beanz, at Chef_Beanz, BEANZ.
Okay.
ChefBeanz.com, Chef_Beanz on Twitter. All things Chef_Beanz with a Z.
All right. Well, thank you for coming today. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, _What's Good With You. On YouTube, subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. I want some feedback. Like, people will come up to me and tell me, like, oh yeah, listen to this episode. Okay, type it. Type it. Say something. It don't take nothing but 10 seconds to comment under a post. Say something. I want to hear what y'all think. Like, I want to know, is this relatable to y'all? I want to know. But yeah, do that. And yeah, that's all.
Hey, keep the love and the peace. We'll see what's good with y'all next week.